let's go ahead and get started today. Welcome to Stress Reset. I'm your host and teacher for today, James, and I welcome you. Thanks for joining. This week is Play Week for CommunityFIT, and this is the last of the Play Week classes. And again, as we've been talking about throughout the week, play is not necessarily games, it's not necessarily toys, it's not necessarily recreation, it's a state of mind. It is an intention to just be in the state of exploration, be in the state of curiosity, be in the state of wonder. It's a sensation within the body. And on Wednesday, we had sort of a roadmap class on how to find what that even means for you and your body. So if you joined us on Wednesday, this is sort of the follow-up class to that. And if you didn't have a chance to join us on Wednesday, well, the videos will be live soon and you can sort of visit that and catch up. You don't need to have been in that class to enjoy and get some benefit out of this class, although you'll understand this class better had you been in that class. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I have a little framework today. So if you see me looking down, I just kind of want to keep myself on track today with some stuff. So I've got some notes written down, and that's what's going on. Bob Ross, my dog, is here again with us today. So we're going to cross fingers that Bob has a good day today. We'll see. Okay, to get started, I want you to take a little personal inventory of just what it is you're noticing about your body right now. What it is you're noticing about your emotional state, what it is you're noticing about your cognitive state. Like, how are you? Not the colloquial nicety, like, how are you? I'm fine. Like, no, like, you're not fine. You wouldn't be here right now if you were fine. How are you right now? And just sort of take, we have, hey, Bob, you got a hello. We're just going to take a little personal inventory. And if you feel like you want to drop it into the chat, if you feel at any time, remember, Stress Reset runs a little bit differently than Move Lab. This is sort of a collaborative experience. And the best way that we process and contextualize and move through stress is socially. So by dropping in your comments, letting people know how you're doing, what's going on with you, sharing your experience and receiving other people's experience will literally help us all metabolize our stress more. So it's not a, oh, if you want to, it's like a please drop it into the chat. Please share your experience. How are you right now? What are you noticing in your body? If you want to drop something in the chat, feel free to do that. I encourage it. Then we're just going to sort of note that so that at the end, low energy. We got a low energy in the chat. So at the end of, I'm feeling anxious and unfocused. That's all of us right now. Thank you. I've noticed that I'm very tense constantly. Ooh, me too. Hurting in my left arm. Great. So as you can see, we've all got stuff going on. You're not alone in this because it oftentimes feels like we're so alone with like pain and anxiety and like how we're really doing underneath the niceties of it all, and you're not alone. So let's gamify this a little bit. I'm going to give us another vote for tense and anxious. Great, thanks, Kim. I'm going to give us a game to play that we're going to kind of revisit throughout today. And the game we're going to call 333. 333. It's like number 3, number 3, number 3. And I'm giving this to you so that, you know, out of all my practices, physiological sigh and shaking tend to be the most commented on of the practices. And not that they're not incredible practices. I use those all the time. I think it's because they're so simple and they're so easy to recall as a resource. It's like, oh yeah, that physiological side, it's 2 inhales, 1 exhale, shaking. I just pick myself up and I shake. So I'm hoping that 333 becomes a tool that, a game that we can all begin to play whenever we feel stressed or as we're about to feel stressed or whenever you feel like you need a little bit of support. So 333 game, here we go. First 3 is take 3 breaths. I'm going to choose for us today physiological sigh, but you'll see how this changes as we go on. Again, physiological sigh is just 2 quick inhales, slow exhalation. If that doesn't work for you, just do 3 breaths. 3 physiological sighs or whatever breaths you choose. Inhale, inhale, exhale. Inhale, inhale, exhale. One more. From there, I want you to just notice 3 things in your room. This goes into that orientation practice that we do a lot. So objectively noticing things in the room would be like plant, dog, door. You can pick whatever you want. I urge you to refrain from the subjective viewing of like messy pile over there or plant that needs watering. Just noticing 3 things in your room: plant, door, dog. Name them, just so that you get acclimated into your space. It's like orienting of, no, here I am. I'm not in the story in my head, in that stress story. 3 breaths, followed by 3 things in the room, followed by move 3 body parts. So you could say, I move my hands, I move my spine, I move my feet. Or you could do your hips. You could think lungs. I let my lungs move. I move my shoulders. So 3, 3, 3. When you feel stressed, when you feel disrupted, when you feel like you're in a trauma response or some sort of dysregulated reflex that you would rather not, that anxious, that pain, that tense thing that everyone has commented on, 3, 3, 3. 3 breaths, 3 things in the room, 3 body parts, right? 3, 3, 3. We'll keep going back to that, but I just want you to have that as sort of a game to play for yourself. 3 breaths, look around, 3 things, 3 body parts. Now, let's move on onto some different kind of breathing, some more playful breathing. These are 3 breaths that I use a lot with kids. And it's not that they're juvenile or not as good of breathing techniques as what I would give in like offices, but these are simple, playful, fun breaths. The first one, I'm going to show you how I teach it to kids. Now, if you can't do this, no problem. Some people literally genetically cannot do this with their tongue. So if that's you, just we'll have a fix for that. So I want you to fold your tongue like a burrito or a straw. Looks like this. Now, some people can't do that. So if you can't do that, you're going to purse your lips like you're blowing out a candle or sucking through a straw, right? So if you can, you turn your tongue into a burrito or a straw. If you can't, just imagine you're blowing out candles or sucking through a straw. And we're going to do 3 breaths in whichever version of that works best for you. Taco breathing or blowing out a candle breath. Ready? In through the tongue, out through the nose. 2 more. And it's okay to laugh. We'll get to that. Laughing is going to be important today. And just kind of drop in the chat how you like that. Where are you at so far with the 3, 3, 3 or the taco breathing? So we have a taco breath. The next breath we're going to do is choo-choo breath. So it is sort of the sound of a train or how a child might mimic a train on your exhalation. So you just inhale. However, the first one had an emphasis on the inhale, right? Like we're doing something different with the inhale and exhaling through our nose. This one is we're doing something normal or routine on the inhale, and on our exhale, we're going to produce a sound or do something with the exhalation. It's going to sound like this. I'm going to quiet mine down because that one just got Bob's attention. He likes the choo-choo breath. So we're going to let's do 3 of those. Ready? Maybe you even imagine a train leaving the station or going uphill or going down. Maybe it's a train going through the Sierra Nevadas or along the coast. Maybe there's a visual that goes along. 2 more. One more on your own. Take an inhale. And then I always like to do a compare and contrast. Which one did you like better? Were you into the taco straw breathing or are you into the choo-choo breathing, right? One of those. Maybe neither of them work for you. Maybe you're still like just a physiological sigh person. Now, I'm bringing out a little toy prop for this one. I'm going to get a little closer here. This is like a little toy orb. Get them at a toy store. Here's what we're going to do. As the orb expands, that's going to be our inhalation. Exhale. Just monitoring on the video to make sure everything looks reasonable here. Inhale. Exhale. And if you think back to Wednesday's class, this is exactly what we were doing. Inhaling into your big shapes. Exhaling. Two more. One more. Good. Then I want you to just think about how that one made you feel. Which one did you like better? The choo-choo, the taco breath, straw breath, or the expanding, contracting? Now, here's the thing. Tools are great. And this is sort of, tools are a teaching prop, right? You now don't need this. You have had an experience. You can close your eyes and think about what this looked like. And it is now serving as an anchor for that breathing practice, meaning you had a internalized somatic experience with this. Just like on Wednesday when we did, how does your body feel when you look at this? That is a somatic imprint. There are mirror neurons in your brain that look at that, look at the movement quality and go, oh, that means something to me. How do we mimic this? How do we recreate this within the body? So you don't need this, but you do need to know which of those 3 breaths. So that way, when you play your 3-3-3 game, you now have options. A lot of you are commenting how much you liked the choo-choo breath, right? So when it would be appropriate, right? Like you feel stressed, especially in traffic, right? You feel stressed with traffic, blah, 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 or after work. 3 choo-choo breaths, 3 orientations, 3 body parts. Super, super simple. Now, from there, let's move on. Let's move on to self-massage because plenty of people said it in the comment section, so perfect. With stress, anxiety, trauma comes tension. Tension is a physical sensation of constriction, of lack of freedom, lack of movement in the body. And it's because it is your body preparing to either have to fight off something, run away from something, or freeze in response to something. So it is a natural, organic, logical thing to be feeling. But how good does it serve, right? Let's bring our hands together and get them warmed. Now, generally when people feel tense, it is noticed in the upper body, right? We usually say we feel stiff in the low body. Tense is usually an upper body thing. So we're gonna take our right hand, we're gonna place it onto the left shoulder, neck area. And if you could even go skin on skin, all the better. It starts with just kind of melting into that. So I'm just letting my hand touch the thing that I'm massaging. That's it. No need to move anything, push anything, knead anything. It's just resting there. Then I can start to move my neck, start to move my shoulder. And as we started talking about on Wednesday in the conversation we had after class, so many of the tools, so many of the practices we explore in Stress Reset are things that so many of us are unconsciously, implicitly doing. Like, how many times have you ever just done this? Probably a lot. If you have like neck and shoulder pain, it's like very intuitive to do this thing. But I want you to not stumble into it or do it when your stress fever gets to 105. I want you to have access to it as a tool. So if you're someone who suffers from neck shoulder tension, maybe this is something that you do every day at 3 p.m., every day at lunchtime, every night before bed, whatever it is, so that you make a habit out of it. Then I can take and just sort of like knead that tissue. So I'm starting off with just a laying on of hands. Then I'm moving into moving the rest of the body beyond what I'm touching. Lastly, I'm doing the classic massage. Then I'm just going to lay my hand there. Now, I haven't tried to fix anything. I'm not trying to massage out the tension. What I'm doing is just bringing awareness into that part of my body. Then you can close your eyes or you can keep them open, your choice. And I want your hand to ask your shoulder, why is it tense? What purpose is it serving? What does your shoulder want you to know? What does it wish? If you suffer from neck and shoulder tension, there will be a message there. There will be something that comes up in your body. You're just not used to listening for that interpersonal dialogue. You're used to suffering from pain and then reacting to it. Oh, I've got to massage it out. That's my shoulder's wrong again. No, your body is helping you to survive. It perceives some sort of threat. It wishes you had run away. It wishes you had fought off. It wishes you had said something. It wishes you had done something. It wishes you had paid attention in a different way. It wishes something from your day. There's communication, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Now, this is not your class. This is a generic class, right? So maybe you don't have neck and shoulder tension, and maybe it's like, well, there's really nothing there. There's nothing there today, at least. Fine, just be there. But for someone out there, this is making sense to their body. And this is a class for all of us, right? Then let's come to the other side. Let's do that same protocol. I'm just gonna be here. Then I'm gonna move around that thing I'm touching. Then I'm going to actually move the thing I'm touching. And then I'm gonna listen. I want to give you an anecdotal thing because sometimes it's better shared and like with my experience informing your experience. As I do this on this side, because this shoulder is much more tense than this side was, what I'm hearing from my body is, I wish you would let the chair support you better. And as I do that, as I allow my sits bones to get wide, I just readjusted where my feet are. I'm just kind of leaning back into the chair. Now the tension is sort of minimizing. If I zoom out and go, oh, great. So my body's asking for the chair to support me. And so it's asking for support. Where else in my life am I ignoring support that is pretty obvious? Where else in my relationships am I ignoring support? Where could I be asking for more support? Where am I choosing to make things harder and more tense on myself because I'm not accepting support? So for me, movement is sort of the metaphor for it all. So here, explicitly, what my body is saying, like, just let the chair support you. In my life, where am I ignoring support? Would be a good question for me throughout the day. And where can I just notice it? Good. So we have a little self massage there. Sometimes that's what the body needs. And it could be up in your neck, it could be in your shoulder, it could be in your armpit, it could be in your chest, it could be a number of areas. I'm here today to give you ideas. And here is where that Wednesday class comes into play. Where does your body need to be touched right now? Where do you need that healing hand, self-touch, massage feeling? Where do you need it? It's a interpersonal communication thing. That's why we started there on Wednesday, right? How does my body want to move? What does it want right now? Where am I resistant to movement? Where do I need the support? Where can I breathe into? What is resistant to that? That's why we do the spaciousness practices. Where do I feel spacious? Where do I not feel spacious? Where am I noticing these things? So that when we move into tools, right? Here's massage, here's a breath tool, that we're not relying on the laurels of the tool. We're not anticipating that the tool is going to fix us, right? Instead, it's like, this is what my body has asked for. This is where I'm in communication with my body in a way that now I know which tool to choose. Otherwise, it's like picking up a hammer and trying to screw something into the wall. It's like, that tool is the wrong tool. This is not what's being asked for. You just need a screwdriver. If you had the screwdriver, it'd be the right tool and you could do the thing simply and wouldn't be too hard. So we have self-massage. Now let's go into a contract release, because sometimes we need to let go and sometimes we need that contraction. So if we use the same area in our body and we go, tense, let's make it more tense. Squeeze, 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 and then thoughtfully release it. Maybe even as you release it, you recall and anchor into the feeling of having your hand on your shoulders. How do you go from squeeze, 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 which is there's no room for that hand, to, and maybe it's not your shoulders. Maybe this one is like one for your legs. Maybe you bring your knees up into you and you squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Maybe you imagine there's an ice cube running up your back and you squeeze, squeeze, squeeze your back, and then relax into that, so that there is a contraction and then there is a release. Because sometimes that's what the body needs. I deal with this a lot. This is like a myofascial concept that sort of repeats in a lot of different arenas that I find myself in. From my myofascial release, my massage background, what I learned is that so many people come in with we'll use a tight shoulder, with the tight shoulder, and they've been stretching it and moving it and rubbing it and then wondering why it's not getting better, why it's not fixed. When really what that tissue wants is to be shortened and contracted in order to release back to neutral. Muscles, tissue, the body can be stuck long and stretched as much as they can be stuck short and contracted. We tend to think in terms of like knots and shortened and tight muscles as being the problem. So everything should be stretched, when in reality, so much of our tissue is already stretched, and what it wants is to be contracted. It wants to be woken up and enlivened again. So sometimes I need that release, and sometimes I need a squeeze. So 3 breaths. You choose. Do you want a choo-choo? Do you want a physiological sigh? Do you want an orb breath, taco breath? What do you want? 3 breaths. Go. Three things in the room. 3 body parts, move them. Do they need to be touched? Do they need to be contracted? Do they need to shake? 3 body parts, go. And then just notice, how does that make you feel? What are you noticing about that? Great. From there, let's combine them, right? So that now we have a movement and a breath thing happening. So if I stretch my arms and I take an inhale, and I relax into it. It's called a pandiculation breath. That is a stretch, yawning breath. Think about waking up in the morning. Like we all intuitively do that. Or it's like time for bed. Or if you watch your specifically cats, even dogs. Bob just did it. He just got up and he did the like downward dog, upward dog thing. Cats do it and then they'll kind of do the shake. Animals intuitively know to do this. Humans intuitively know to do this, but we put a story behind it. Oh, you must be really tired. Oh, you must be anxious. Oh, what's wrong? Oh, you didn't sleep enough, right? No, it's really just your nervous system shifting gears. It's either waking up or going to bed. It's like a up regulation or a down regulation. And it's a tool you can access all the time. I noticed myself doing this a lot, especially when I was in college. I worked my way through college. So often I would work and then I would have to go to school and then I would find myself in an auditorium course, you know, one of 200 people where you could just sort of melt away. And I would sit down and within 5 minutes, I'm doing this. And it wasn't that I was not rested, although, you know, you're 19. How rested are you at 19? But really, I now understand it as my brain was shifting from like work to school, school to work to home. It's like your nervous system recalibrating itself into whatever may be. And it's a tool you can resource on your own. So I want you to stretch. Right? And you can do the 3-3-3 all at the same time. What if you did a breath, you did a movement, a stretch thing, and you looked for something? And what if the something you looked for was something beautiful in the room? And then one more. And then again. Just notice how that shifts or changes anything about how you're relating to your body, to your experience right now. Then I want you to drop into the chat. What did you like? What did you not like? What feels really intuitive? What feels really good? What was like an aha moment for you? Where are you at now with tension, with stress, anxiety, pain, all the things? Drop it into the chat. Stretching feels great. Good. Okay. Calmer than when we started. Great. Contraction squeeze was wonderful. Great. Yeah, and you can see everyone's going to have a different thing. That's why I've said over and over and over again, I can't give you the tools to feel better. I can only give you a buffet of tools and information on how to access what it is you need, and it is your job to then fill in the gaps. Tension squeeze was great. Relaxed. Even my bird started stretching. Right. It's contagious. What Monica said here is relaxed. Even my bird started stretching their wings and yawning. Good. Okay. The last thing I want to end with here is now that we're a little more regulated, now that we're a little more like, oh, I'm here. I want to leave us even more pro-social. I want to leave us even more engaged with ourselves and the world around us. And there is a surefire way to do this. And it is a fake it until you make it thing. There are even classes around this. And this happens to be one of my secret weapons. And it's something, again, that we all intuitively do. And in fact, it boosts your immune system. It regulates your stress. It connects you with people. And it is one of my favorite things in the entire world. And it's a laughing practice. So everyone together, take a nice deep inhale. Woo. So you can just get it started. You can watch something funny, listen to something, read something funny, or you just get it started and like your body knows what to do with it. So I want you to remember 333. You have now different tools to fill in the 333. And when all else fails and you're wanting to play, find someone, something to laugh with, or laugh at yourself. And that's what I got for you today. Thanks, everybody. We'll be back next week. I'll stick around for some questions. And thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, James. Yes, I wasn't able to take the whole class, but I'm glad I made it for the laughing.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for the laughing compliments.
Yeah, it just always puts a smile on my face for sure. And then I did hear comments about, animals, and we have a participant whose birds were mimicking what she was doing and how the yawning and the stretching is contagious. I definitely can attest to that with my dogs. And I just now try to just mimic what they do, when they get stressed and they shake it off. So I just try to shake it off and, just the different things they do to kind of re-regulate. And we're all living beings, so we must have some similarities, in that.
Especially mammals, right? Mammals co-regulate each other. So it doesn't matter if it's a dog, a cat, a kid, a person.
Right.
We will all, if you yawn in front of your dog, they'll eventually yawn. And
yes, I've noticed that.
If your dog yawns, vice versa.
Right. Yep. It's amazing.
Right. Good. Okay, everybody. Thank you. Yeah, I find that after I laugh for a bit, I start yawning. Yep, it's a nervous system shift.
Yeah.
And Parmjeet says, I'm hoping I pronounce your name correctly. I feel way better than the beginning of class. Thank you so much. Glad that worked for you. Cool.
Fabulous. Well, wonderful. We hope that everybody has a great weekend. We have one more week next week in this block. So we'll have 2 Move Lab classes, 2 Stress Reset classes. Then we'll take a quick break till January, but I'm looking forward to next week and I hope everybody has a fabulous weekend.
Yep. Next week, integration week. We'll make sense of all of this.
Yay. Okay. All right. Thank you, Raymond.
Bye, James. Everybody. Thanks, Raymond. Bye, Alicia. Bye, everybody. Bye.